Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to make some sort of sunflower seed butter ball. I'm not sure what I'm going to call this yet, but we are going to figure this out as we go. So let me show you what I have today. First of all, we have this sunflower seed butter. We have some cinnamon. We have some dates. We have just some oats. And some coconut sugar. And then we also have over here just some dark chocolate. These are just some dark chocolate squares. So what I'm going to do first is actually measure out the dates. So we're going to do, usually I use medjool dates, and I'm actually out of medjool dates. So I'm using these Deglet Noor dates. So, anyways, they are, they're kind of similar to medjool. They're just a little bit smaller. So we're just going to measure them out in here. I'm going to go about a cup of them, and I'm not going to like smush them down or anything. We're just going to put here, I'll count them for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's count these out here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so about like 15-ish dates. You'll see it kind of goes to the 1 cup mark. I have not like smushed these down at all. That will do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some hot water, which I have already heated up in this kettle, and I'm going to fill this so that the dates are just covered. So I'm just going to fill it to the 1 cup mark, basically like that. So you'll see the dates are in there. I can push them down a little bit now. So we filled it to the 1 cup mark, and I actually think I'm going to add a couple dates to this. So we were at 16, so we're going to top it up to 20, 17, 18, 19, 20. And that really just makes it nicely to the 1 cup mark. The water is at the 1 cup mark. And now I'm just going to let this sit for a while we get the rest of the ingredients ready. So let's just set that stuff aside. All right. So let's now dive in with this sun butter. It is essentially just sunflower seeds ground up into a butter. I used to make stuff with sunflower seed butter all the time, and then I kind of stopped, and I recently saw this at the grocery store, and I was like, you know what? It is time to try to make something with it again. Sunflower seed butter definitely has a little bit of a stronger taste than some of the other butters, but I think with like the addition of our other ingredients here will balance the flavors out nicely. So let me see if I can get this open here. We are going to use this entire jar. So it is 454 grams. That seems like kind of a weird amount, but probably about 2 cups, I would say. Anyways, we can measure it out. We can measure it out if I can ever get this open. Here we go. We are getting there slowly but surely. All right. I forgot my little cloth here is key when baking because things get a little bit messy. So, all right. Here we go. Let's measure this out and see actually how much nut butter is in 454 grams. I'm sure there's some beautiful conversion out there that tells you, but let's just figure it out. Oh, this might actually be about 1 cup and a bit. So here, it smells delicious. Here we are at 1 cup, so there's 1 full cup to begin with. Alrighty, very good. Let's scoop that in. And then it looks like there might be about half a cup left. So it might just be, so we'll get our 1/2 cup here, half a cup, and measure that out. It looks like it's gonna be about 1.5 cups. Yeah, so if you don't have these, 454 gram jar or whatever, we'll do 1.5 cups. It's gonna be, pretty exact. All right, perfect. I'll just scoop the rest of this out. There we go. All right, looks good. Yeah, so 1 very full 1.5 cup. So it might be just a little bit over, but again, I don't. The thing about The thing about baking is that so many people say that it needs to be so precise, and I think that's very true of like your very traditional baking, like if you're making a, I don't know, like a souffle or a creme brulee or a cream puff or something like that that needs like very precise ingredients. The type of baking that I do is definitely a little bit more rugged, if you will. It's just, we throw things in a bowl, we figure it out as we go. If you add a little bit of extra this or a little bit of extra that, it will not ruin your recipe. So anyways, for the nut butter, very close to 1.5 cups. If anything, it was a little bit over 1.5 cups, but only a very little bit. So there we go. 1.5 cups of this nut butter. Sunflower seed butter. All right, next we are going to add cinnamon. I am going to do a full tablespoon of cinnamon in these ones. So here we go. Let's measure out our 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. And next up, we are going to add a little bit of coconut sugar, just to add a little bit of sweetness. And the coconut sugar just adds like a really nice taste and texture. I'm not going to add a lot. I'm going to do 1/4 cup since we are doing the dates. We'll start with 1/4 cup, and I mean, if we have to add more later, we add more later. No big deal. All right, so let's mix this up a little bit. I'm going to stir this up just to start kind of combining the ingredients. And these are essentially just going to be little, like I'm going to scoop them into little balls, basically. And so the only other thing really that we're going to be adding is our date puree, because we will be pureeing the dates, and then the oats, and we'll be adding oats until the consistency of the batter is like hard enough that you can kind of manipulate them with your hands without getting too sticky. But cooling them in the fridge will also be a big part of this, because the cooling in the fridge will help them kind of harden up and be a little bit less sticky. So this is nice and combined. So now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take these dates and I'm going to put them into this, it's like a little blender bowl, I guess. And I'm actually going to go blend them into a puree. So I will take my little blade thing and put it on. And if you've seen some of my other videos, you know that my little blender thing is actually hidden like in the mechanical room in the basement, because my son, who is 4, thinks that it is way too loud. So when we want to blend with this particular blender, we must go downstairs. So I'm going to go to the basement to blend this, and I will be back in just a minute and then we can continue. All right, so welcome back. I have literally just sprinted back up the stairs with this. I blended it for literally like 2-3 seconds. It blends really quickly, really well, especially with the added water. So now let's open this up and scoop it into the bowl. So we've got, you'll see it just makes like a nice, very nice date puree. I just scrape some off the blade here, and then we will scoop this in. There we go. And that looks very nice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this all together. We'll get rid of this spoon here. All right, so let's give this a really good stir to start incorporating it all. This looks quite nice. It actually, it smells very good too, which is always a good sign. All right. So now we are going to add our oats. And let me see if let me see if I have a second 1 cup, since I used my 1 cup for the nut butter already. So here we go. This one has a broken handle, but whatever, it still works. So we're gonna start with 1 cup and we'll kind of go from there. So we'll scoop in 1 cup of oats. These oats in particular are gluten-free oats. I am celiac, so gluten-free for me is really important. But just any quick oats will do if you are not concerned about gluten. So 1 cup is looking pretty good, but I think we're gonna have to add another, to be honest. Because yes, it's looking still a bit sticky. So we're gonna add a full other cup, and I think that will probably do. So here we go. There's 2 cups. I'll put this aside. I love these resealable bags, but like half the time the little Ziploc part ends up staying on the other side, which makes the resealable bag not resealable. Anyways, that is okay. That's why they make clips as well, so you can just roll the bag a bit and clip it. Okay, so this is looking really good. This is exactly kind of what we want. Let me show you here. So you'll see it's getting like very thick and it's getting harder to mix. And you know, if you kind of put it on the spoon like that, it kind of just stays on there, which is what you want. All right, this looks great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little, like a mini I guess they're like melon ball scoopers or mini cookie scoops. And we are going to start scooping this onto a tray. So one moment, I will grab those things since I forgot to bring them out initially. All right, so I am back. I have my little scooper here, and I also have a tray that I have lined with just wax paper. So now what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to scoop these into little balls, and you'll see it just makes a little ball like that. And then I'll just kind of round it with my fingers a little bit and set it down. And that will essentially be our little sunflower seed balls. And so I'm going to repeat this until the batter is all done. So I like using these scoopers because it kind of helps ensure that the sizes are consistent, so you don't have like big balls, little balls, whatever. All of these are fairly consistent, but I mean, you could easily scoop this with a spoon, or even just with your hands. I mean, that's just as easy as well. So whatever works best for you. No need for fancy tools. You just make it work with what you've got. All right, so I am going to finish scooping these, and then I will come back to show you what's next once I am done scooping them. All right, so I am back. These have all been rolled. It took me maybe like 3 to 5 minutes to roll them all. So you can see this made actually 33 little rolled balls here. So you get a good number of them. And what we are going to do now is we are going to prepare a little chocolate drizzle for the top of them. So for that, I am taking just, oh, this one's dirty, so we'll take our clean one here. These are just some dark chocolate squares. Basically, it was like a massive dark chocolate bar for baking. And I'm just going to break some up in here. So here we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we'll do like 12 squares of chocolate to begin with. They're fairly large squares, as you can see, but you can kind of melt, whatever dark chocolate you have here. And I'm literally just going to melt this in the microwave. And since my microwave is over there, I will do this and come back. But basically what I do is I microwave it for 30 seconds at a time, stirring it in between until it's fully melted. So I am going to go do that, and then I will come back as soon as it's done. Oh, so I guess you will also need a spoon for this, which I do not have yet. So make sure you have a spoon to stir with. All right, so I am back. Our chocolate is now, as you can see, very melted. There's still just like a little bit of a chunk in it, so I'm just gonna stir it up here while I talk for a moment. But essentially what I'm going to do with this is just drizzle like a little pattern on top of every one. Honestly, this is totally not necessary. You can do this if you'd like. Instead, if you would prefer, you could have added chocolate chips right in. I'm just going to do this to try to make it look maybe a little bit prettier, but like I said, totally not necessary. You could just as easily leave them as is if you wanted, or you could have put chocolate chips right in them. Or you can do the chocolate drizzle like we are going to attempt to do right now. Does not mean that this is gonna work. So that's the part of figuring it out as you go. So this made about, I wanna say about half a cup of melted chocolate. We might need more, we might have extra. Again, I'm not sure, we're gonna figure it out as we go here. So I'm going to put my spoon in here. And let's just see what happens if we, well, maybe I'll start down here so you can see a little more. If we just lightly drizzle a little like chocolate, and obviously you're gonna get some drizzle kind of going on the wax paper, which is fine. But yes, this is turning out very pretty. There we go. So there we go. I will just do this with all of these little balls, and then no baking, no nothing. I'm literally just going to put these into the fridge to cool. And so you'll want to leave them in the fridge to cool probably for a couple of hours, I would say, to really let them kind of firm up, especially since the sunflower seed butter jar that I was using was not already in the refrigerator. It was just in the pantry. So the sunflower seed butter had not like hardened at all. When it goes in the fridge, it gets a little bit harder. Oops, I forgot one. Look at that. This poor little guy had been forgotten. All right, here we go. This is the last one. So yes, this was plenty of chocolate for these. I could give them, there's not much left in here actually, that's pretty much done. Yeah, there's really not much left in here. So that actually worked out really well. So I think that I said that was about like 12 squares. We can give some of these a little bit of extra. There we go. Let's give that guy a little extra and this guy a little extra. And that's basically it. That used all the chocolate. Perfect. Awesome. So then, yeah, here they are. They look great. Now, like I said, I'm going to pop them in the fridge for, you know, about 1 to 2 hours. I mean, you could enjoy it right now too. It's just going to be a little bit softer. It will just firm up a lot more once it's been cooled. So these I will be storing in the fridge in an airtight container once they've cooled completely, but you could also freeze them really easily. They would freeze quite well for later use. So anyways, that is it. Thanks for making chocolate sunflower seed balls with me. Maybe that's what we'll call them. If you have a cool idea for a name for these, let me know. I think for now I'm going to call them chocolate topped sunflower seed balls or something along those lines. So anyways, I'm just babbling now. Thank you again so much for joining me and making these with me, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye.